The Ibrox Channel.
Mentality ingrained like a scar. A chance for us to close the gap, and we fail with a 1-0 loss at Kilmarnock, a team who haven't beaten us in 9 out of the last 10 previous meetings and have conceded their worst amount of goals since 1996. Should have been an easy 3 points, eh?
A Rangers podcast. This is the Ibrox Channel.
Yes, hello everyone. You are listening to the Ibrox Channel podcast. I'm Andrew, and I would say I hope you're all doing well, but it is 20 minutes past 2, so the full-time whistle has not long gone at Rugby Park, and I'm sure you'll be like me and absolutely raging once again at Rangers not being able to get a result after the side from the other end of the city managed to drop points yesterday. As usual, we can't just go out there and close the gap a little bit. It's not the biggest gap in the world, but it would have been nice to eat into that a little bit and bring it back to 3 points. But no, we failed to do that against a team that have conceded 17 goals in their opening 7 games, one of the highest that they've conceded since 1996. So, yeah, Kilmarnock at Rugby Park after one of their kind of not best starts of the season. Of course, we were going to drop points, weren't we? So, yeah, we are going to delve into that. But, yeah, first of all, I hope you are all doing well as can be. I know your weekend's ruined as much as mine is, I have to say. But, yeah, so let's get into it. Let's do it. So, Derek McInnes, of course, heading up the side. He's gone with a 4-4-2 formation, something we've seen a few times from Derek McInnes this season. Started with McCrory in goal, Lewis Mayo, Dees, Finlay and Mbada in the back 4, Armstrong, Lyons, Donnelly and Kennedy in the midfield 4, and Vassell and Watkins up top for Kilmarnock. Now, Rangers, we opted for a kind of 4-2-3-1, the usual, what we kind of do. Tav, Suter, Proper and Hefty in the back 4, Diamandi and Barron, the 2 in midfield in front, Cherny out on the right, Lawrence in behind the striker, and Bajrami out on the left. And of course, it was Dessers up top for Rangers. No Sterling on the bench. It does seem that he did have a slight knock, so he has been left out of the side. And of course, Danilo's only just gone back into training, so he won't be seen yet. Might maybe in the next game. But yeah, it's not really a team we weren't expecting per se. It was the team we kind of all thought it was going to be. Referee for this one, Stephen McLean, even, I can't even say it. Stephen McLean, the referee for this one. VAR referee Alan Muir, assistant referee Daniel McFarlane, the other assistant referee David Dunn, fourth official Lloyd Wilson, and assistant VAR official Frank Connor. So that was a kind of important info going into this one. Now, head-to-head wise, Kilmarnock haven't had the best kind of start to the season, of course. They did get a fairly decent result against FC Copenhagen in the kind of UEFA Conference League kind of playoffs. Unfortunately, yeah, they did go out of that. Obviously, they drew with Hibernian, then drew with St Mirren, drew with Dundee United, but then they managed to get a late win over Dundee in their last game. Obviously, for us, our only real blip in the last 5 games was the defeat at Lyon. Looking at Kilmarnock, as I did mention, they have conceded 17 goals at this point in the season. They are sitting 7th. So, it's not really the best start for them. They've conceded the same amount of goals as what they did in 1996. It's the last time they conceded that many goals in the season. So, obviously, not a real good start. A little bit of pressure on Derek McInnes there. So what were we thinking going into this one? My kind of thoughts were that, I thought we were going to win about 2-0. I think 2-0 felt like it would be a bit of a sticky game, but I thought we would at least, kind of grind out the kind of win. That's what I kind of felt. I just felt the way it would go. We've had a kind of couple of week break. So, we've actually had a bit of time off. Obviously, I had a couple of players out playing for some teams for the Nations League and, of course, for the unders. National teams as well. We've had, obviously, Suter had a great performance out against Portugal, kind of kept Ronaldo at bay, didn't he, in that draw for Scotland. Now, yeah, So let's delve into it. Let's do it. Let's go for some more pain this Sunday. So the game opened, and as usual, kind of ball was kind of battling around both sides. 5 minutes in, and Kilmarnock kind of have the first real chance. It was a stramash and a bit of a defensive error. Ball fired in. Butland looks to clear it, but he kind of makes a hash of it. Shot comes in from Watkins, but Butland does very well to get a touch and tries to close down. He does get, as I say, a touch on it, takes the sting out of the shot before Suter manages to clear it. So a little bit of an alarm bell there for Rangers, of course. 10 minutes in, a good move from us, a great switch by Barron out to Bajrami. He does well to drive away and plays the ball back across to Dessers. But Dessers, he's kind of just holding back at the edge of the area. He's kind of waiting for the ball. He has to do better there. He's waiting for it. It's easy to read, and Kilmarnock clear. Dessers should have been busting right in. There was loads of space in the box. He should have been busting in, and he's got a tap in. Personally, that's the way I look at that one. Obviously, he's trying to hold back, to try and get the ball if it does come back out. But nah, don't get me wrong. Bajrami could see where he was and was trying to play the ball to him. But in that situation, Kilmarnock read it and then managed to clear it. So, it was a bit pointless there. We'll get on to Dessers. He didn't exactly have his best game. But yeah, no, that was a poor one. 12 minutes in, Kennedy, he should have scored for Killie. Ball across the area, and it just misses everyone. Perfect height for Kennedy. He's just running onto it, just misses it. He should have finished. And the way things were going today, that probably would have been one of many goals for Kilmarnock. 15 minutes in, Tav down the right plays a great ball to Dessers. D's for company. Dessers is blocked out, so obviously played a great ball, a swinging ball out to Dessers. He brings it down, kind of tries to get in there, tries to get the shot away, but you have to say D's there, he was very good defensively, made sure Dessers couldn't get the shot away. And the type of player Dessers is at the minute, he has to take several touches before he gets the shot away. So obviously just stand him up and he's not going to get past you. I have to say, Tav did look quite good today at times. He was one of the few outlets, I think, him and Bajrami, for kind of balls into the area. Tav, yeah, he was looking better than he has done in recent months. 17 minutes in, there was a Kilmarnock corner after a shot from Vassell. It's hit right at Suter, which went out for a corner. Outswinger in by Kennedy. It was cleared and we break. It's 3-on-2. And it comes to Dessers under no pressure. And he just hits it off a Kilmarnock player who's tracking back. Now, for me, that was terrible. Dessers is under no pressure whatsoever. What's he doing? What is he doing? I really couldn't work that one out. Now, I don't know if because the thing with Dessers for me is Dessers, when he's in a good bit of form, will score goals, and he will. We've seen him take first-time chances as well. He can score them. He is capable, but obviously we know his limitations. We know he normally has to take several touches. Now, in this move, we should have got at least a shot on target here. Dessers should have at least had an assist. I don't know what he's doing here, and I don't know why he's caught there and just hit it off the defender. Now, I think in this game, there was a lot of issues with the pitch. And I'm not going to blame the pitch for the game, for the performance. No, we should be able to go there and win. But I noticed that first Bajrami was struggling a little bit with a couple of touches. He let the ball kind of stray away from him a couple of times early on. He did, obviously. He got better as the game went on, but I think for a few players, they were adjusting and trying to work on that pitch, and they were struggling. But yeah, I don't know what Dessers was there. For me, that was one of the worst moves of the game. That was such a gilt-edged move, and if you were to kind of analyze XG on that move in a sense, you should be getting something from that. I know you wouldn't analyze XG on that because it's not, a chance. It's a kind of pre-chance, isn't it? But yeah, that we should have been on goal there, and Dessers messed that up. Now, there was a lot of little bits of interchangeable play where it would break down with Dessers in that first half, and that was very frustrating. It was really getting on my nerves. But, we are very limited for options up front at the minute, so we can't really just, I say rest Dessers. You can't really rest him. He's had 2 weeks off. So, but yeah, anyway. After that, 90 minutes in, Czerny had a nice little 1-2 with Tav, back to Czerny. He lets a shot rip and it is parried. Now, I noticed that a few times today. Czerny had some really good 1-2s with Tav. That was working very well, opening up Kilmarnock a little bit. But again, it's just that the ball in for the final third was pretty good a lot of the time. It was just, there's nobody really there to take it. And that was kind of one of the issues, definitely, in that first half. 20 minutes in, Tav takes a shot from outside the box. It's right down the throat of the keeper. He probably should have done better from there. I like seeing I like seeing shots from outside the box. You know, it's something I'm hoping Diamandi can do a bit more of. But yeah, sadly, down the throat of the keeper. Barron did get he didn't get a card at this point, but Barron does take out Lyons straight after that, and it was a free kick. It was one of those that he had to do it. 21 minutes in, there was a nice move from us, but it breaks down as Dessers is slack with the ball. Once again, we saw that several times. I don't want to have a podcast here where I'm just hating on Dessers. I know what Dessers can bring to this team. Dessers can bring something to this team, but it's mainly from the bench, especially at this stage when he's not in form. When he's not in form, you do have to have another option, and sadly, we just didn't really have that today. I think that Clement was right not to bring on Egamani, in that first half, because I think Igmani's not quite the finished article yet. I think it was better letting the Killie team tire a bit before bringing him on. There we go. 26 minutes in, Proper had a shot. Watkins picks it up. Had to play it, and Killie are through, but he messes it up. But yeah, it was luckily that it was very lucky that Killie did mess that up there. Watkins, he was through. Yeah, it was one of them. 27 minutes in, it's a yellow card. Tav, professional foul. He brings down Watkins. He had to do it. It was one of those. But yeah, we were starting to pick up a few yellow cards, which is not something you want to do at Rugby Park. 28 minutes in, a big alarm bell. Killie had an offside goal. Kennedy with a great ball in. Robbie D's header right in. It was a great ball to Robbie D's header right in. Poor defending. Luckily, it was offside. He is, just under a yard offside. Lines were drawn. You could see it with the naked eye. But yeah, it was offside. It's one of those, you look at it and you think we could have done better there, but it's a difficult one because he is offside anyway. So the move would probably be slightly different if he was onside. It's one of those. In my head, looking at that, I still think we could have done better, but maybe that's just me. I did find that Armstrong and Kennedy were linking up really well for Kilmarnock. Now, Kilmarnock didn't offer a lot in the first half, but they were offering more than some teams do, and they were a difficult team to break down. They were. 35 minutes in, Cheney, another 1-2 with Tav. We've seen that a few times in the game. Tav in acres of space, great ball in, and Robbie Dees manages to clear it. Again, just nobody there for Rangers to be able to take that chance from that ball. Yeah, I do think Tav was one of our better players today, and I think that he put in some really good balls, but sadly, just wasn't happening. 39 minutes in, getting towards half-time. Rangers look to have a corner, but it's given us a goal kick. You watch the replay. Tav cleared it off Mbada. Yeah, it's just one of them. The linesman's missed it, but yeah, it's a shame we didn't get the corner there. 40 minutes in, free kick for Rangers. Tav is brought down. And you were just finding we were just trying to get to half-time at this point. Not a lot happening. 42 minutes in, though, now, this is a bit of a weird one. It is a hell of a miss, but I do think that Lyons is waiting for the whistle here, which I think just confuses everything, but I'll go through it anyway. Diamandi's fouled on the edge of the area by Lyons. The whistle doesn't go, play continues. Lyons stops. He's expecting the whistle. There ain't one, so he takes a shot one-on-one. Butland pulls off a great save, I have to say. Comes back to Lyons, and the angle's a bit dodgy, and he just blooters it high and wide. For me, you've just got to play to the whistle. You don't wait for the whistle, you play to it. Yeah, one of those, isn't it? But it kind of looked like Kilmarnock, whenever they did have a kind of good opportunity, they were missing them. So it looked like it was kind of not going to be their day, per se. But yeah, enough of that. But yeah, so that was kind of it for the first half. There wasn't a lot going on. Chances created, they were pretty even. I think the only thing we had in our favour dramatically was possession, 68% vice theirs. Not doing a hell of a lot with the ball. Now, obviously, you could tell there was a little bit of a reaction from Rangers in the second half. Second half started, and I noticed at times that Proper was pushing up really high when we were in possession in that kind of final third. Sutton and Barron were kind of the back two at that point, I did notice. We had a corner 48 minutes in, came to nothing. Then the kind of game started dying down a little bit again. 52 minutes in, Dessers with a great shot from outside the area. Looks like it's going in. Great save from McCrory. He did see it late. The corner comes in, and from a yard, kind of Dessers, the ball kind of swings in towards Dessers. He kind of hits it from not even a yard. It's kind of nearly on the line. Smacks it off the bar and out. Now, I'm going to give Dessers the benefit of the doubt here. It is a tough one due to the flight of the ball and where he was. He kind of, it's one of those annoying ones, though, because when he kind of swiped his foot at it, he kind of hits it high. I think if you just get your toe on that, you toe punt it into the net, it goes in. You know, it's one of those. It's a frustrating one, but it all happens in a split second. It's a stramash in the box, and it's not right at Dessers. He's kind of going towards it. So it's one of those, all happened in the flash. You start thinking, you know, I was talking with the Rangers Journal in the group chat that we're in, and we just started to feel it wasn't going to be our day after that. But that was one of our better chances, if we're being honest. We haven't really done a hell of a lot, bar a couple of shots from outside the box in that first half. So we were kind of, you know, plugging away a little bit. 55 minutes in, great challenge on Armstrong by Barron. Armstrong's kind of running away. Looks like he's going to pull the trigger from distance, and Barron just makes sure he doesn't. 57 minutes in, a great break and move by Rangers. Ball out to Jefte for Bajrami. Back to Bajrami. He takes a touch, gets the shot away, and it is unlucky because it kind of just goes wide. So, you know, starting to plug away a little bit. 59 minutes in, Kennedy and Lawrence both get yellows. Lawrence, I don't think, did too much wrong here. They kind of both come together. It's a free kick, Rangers. Lawrence goes to take it, hits the ball off Kennedy because Kennedy's like stood in front of it. It's one of them, it's handbags, but both get a yellow. One of those. The referee's kind of always going to do that, I guess. 61 minutes in, Proper takes out Vassell as he's going past him. A professional yellow. I was watching this on the Sky Sports app on my iPad in the living room, and I had my headphones in, and it was one of those. I didn't realize my little daughter was in the room, and when I saw it, when I saw Proper take him out, I'm like, oh, and then I just look up and I just see my daughter looking at me, eyes open, like, you've just sworn. It was one of those. I just forgot my surroundings. It was just yeah. Yeah, it's a professional foul. He had to take the yellow for that. Otherwise, he's going past him. Proper at this point, he did pick up a bit of a knock before this. And yeah, he was looking like he was possibly going to go off. He looked after this like he really needed to go off. He was down. So Balogun comes on for Proper. And Barron is off for Raskin, who comes on. One thing I did notice when Balogun came on, he was winning some duels, something that Proper didn't really do too much in the game. So, you know, Balogun looking sharp coming on, which was good. 65 minutes in, Vassell headers it through to Kennedy in the box, and Kennedy from the angle hits it high and wide. Vassell did look that he had injured himself in doing so, kind of just overstretching for that. You could see Killie, you know, they were looking to plug away, but again, nothing gilt-edged. Where the ball fell to Kennedy, get it low and it's probably going in, but again, it wasn't the best ball. He's taken a swing at it. He could have done a little better, I guess, but it's one of those. There was a good move 67 minutes in. You know, Dessers kind of started it. Dessers was much better in the second half on the ball and then linking up play. The first half, he wasn't good at all with it. The ball's then played over the top for Czerny, and Czerny's shot deflects out for a corner. That was a very good move. That was, you know, we weren't really opening up Kilmarnock too much. We were trying long balls in the first half, and with the wind and stuff, it's just, you know, it's not really working. Yeah, 69 minutes in, Rangers corner after a ball is deflected behind from Jefte. Corner parried by McCrory as the ball comes in from Tav. It might have been going in, to be fair. Comes back in, and then it's another corner. There's a Stramash in the box, and just Suter can't put it away. It's a frustrating one. You're watching it, just shouting, just somebody bury it, but nope, couldn't do it. Ball out, and Kennedy breaks away. Suter's the only man back. Don't get me wrong, Suter was doing everything right. He was kind of trying to force him out wide. Gets a shot in, and Butland gathers comfortably, just takes it. Ball then punted forward, and Dessers just couldn't get on the end of it. It looked like it was just kind of over the top, and Dessers, if he was just a little quicker, might have been able to get there. But it was a quick one. It was one of those. And then that was the kind of last we saw of Dessers, who hadn't had a great game. Terrible first half. A little better second half. He was linking up play a little bit better, but realistically, it wasn't his game. His form's off at the minute, and this is something we spoke about earlier in the season. When he's firing, you're getting away with it because, you know, out of the 10 chances, he's scoring at least a couple. But when he's not in form, nobody else is picking up and scoring. So that is the worry. Yeah. So Igmani comes on for Dessers now. Igmani has looked sharp in some games. He's not scored yet. He's not really totally set the header alight, but he has looked fairly decent linking up play. Yeah, he does look like he does offer something a little bit different. He's still young though as well, so it's one of those. For Kilmarnock, Vassell did come off. He was struggling after that kind of overstretching he did in the box. So Anderson comes on for him. 73 minutes in, the free kick Killie. Lawrence penalised for a foul on Kennedy. Obviously, it's one of those. He's felt the touch and just went down. It happens in football. Referee's always going to give it every time. 76 minutes in, there's cries of a foul against Jeff Day. There's a slack pass from Finlay, but you know what? It wasn't. Got the ball. It was one of those. 76 minutes in, straight after this, Jeff Day loses the ball, then wins it back from Mayo. And he does well to get into the box, but he just miskicks it. I don't know what he does there. Somebody said in the group chat that did we just witness Jeff Day glitch? And I think, yeah, it's like somebody playing FIFA. They don't realise they got the ball and just hit the wrong button. It kind of just summed up our day, really. We saw then Casemiro come on for Lawrence. Lawrence did need to come off. He was on a yellow, and if you were going to put a bet on anyone to get sent off, it's probably going to be Lawrence, if we're being honest. Dowell then came on, Czerny off. So that kind of indicated that Tav was going to push up on the wide right, which, to be fair, the way that Tav had been playing in the game with chance creation, he was one of our kind of main outlets. I can understand that. Getting into that last 10 minutes, I'll be honest with you, the last 15 minutes really did drag of the game, which is weird because normally when you're in desperate need of a goal, the game seems to be going quicker and quicker. That's just the way it feels. But no, this was dragging. It was not a good game of football. Casemiro, he looked quite sharp when he came on 83 minutes in, but then after a great move, he just puts in a poor cross, he just puts it out. Again, I think this is where some players just aren't used to playing on this surface. He'd just come on and, I think sometimes he'd about 10 minutes to kind of bed in and get used to the kind of flight of the ball and the way it is with the type of pitch. 85 minutes in, corner Rangers, outswinger by Tav, and it comes to nothing again. It does become just frustrating that we weren't really getting anything. I think the best corner we had was Tav's kind of one where he was it looked like he was cheekily aiming for the post. That's, yeah, it wasn't looking good. And, we were in dire need of a goal, and we were in dire need of a goal. And it just didn't feel like it was coming. None of us, we were joking that, Igmani's going to grab it in the 96th minute, but it just didn't look like it was coming, did it? Now, speaking of goals coming, 88 minutes in, of course, it's a perfect time for anybody to score. And of course, it comes away Kilmarnock. Now, Kilmarnock hadn't really created much chance-wise later on into that second half. I think we did have the better of the kind of pressure, but to be honest with you, there wasn't that much between us. And the goal did come, so it's a ball over the top. Casemiro kind of plays Watkins on. Suter just can't clear it. He's kind of between Watkins and the keeper. Gets something on it, and it kind of just deflects past Butland. It wasn't even a well-hit shot, really, was it? It was just one of them where he's just kind of hitting it at goal. Butland kind of a little bit bamboozled because it's just taken the touch, and it's just rolled in the net. This is the thing. This is the same thing from us. This is what we do. Whenever we have that chance to close the gap, there's no greater motivation than finding out your rivals have lost or dropped any sort of points the day before, the game before, or even hours before, and you think, you know what, this is our chance to close the gap a little bit. It gives us a little bit of confidence, and you're just hoping, aren't you? You're just hoping for that. There's no better motivation. No better motivation. And the worrying thing for me now is this is not necessarily a manager issue, because we've gone through several managers with this exact same problem. There is a rotten mentality at the club. No matter how much we talk about winning is everything, no matter how much we talk about best in class, our mentality is ingrained like a scar, and it's not going away. And we need to find a way of getting rid of that mentality that we have, that where we just choke. On paper, after the start Kilmarnock have had this season, we should be beating them. And we should, especially when you've had that great motivation of knowing that they've dropped points the game before, close the gap a little bit. Everyone's happier going into midweek. But no, it's not. We had no answer. And that's the thing. Conceded at that point. Better Rangers teams have then kind of managed to get the draw or maybe nicked a winner. We saw it last season against Hearts. Hearts scored a late goal, didn't they, to go 1-0 up at Ibrox, and was starting to worry. And then we scored 2 goals in 90-plus minutes to win it. That's what teams do to win championships. And we didn't really have much of an answer. In my notes after that goal, we had that 94th minute chance where Double kind of plays it out to Igmane, and he just looks like he's scored. He looks like he's just tipped it past the keeper, and it just goes past the post, just trickles past. Some people were saying, a better striker would do better. That's a tough one. I don't know. I wouldn't fully blame Igmane for that, but yeah, try and get it on target. But he's got to take it first time there as the keeper's coming out, defenders on him. Yeah. And then that was it. 1-0. Kilmarnock. Some people would probably have put money on us dropping points today because they have. And yeah, this is something that this is a Halloween horror show. This is something that we see too much from Rangers now. And it is true, isn't it? We do. We see it over the years far too often. And it's not something that's necessarily because of a manager. We've gone through several managers. We would say the mentality is rotten within the squad. Well, the main core of that squad is gone now. Yes, we've still got Tav, we've still got a couple of other players. But, it primarily is a new squad. Can't necessarily fully blame Tav for this, can we? There is a massive issue within that squad. And you could have almost put money on us losing today or dropping points today because of them dropping points yesterday. Now, on the flip side of that, if Celtic would have won yesterday, would we probably win today? Do you know what? Madly, you think almost, yeah. Probably would. Yeah. There's Rangers fans now today thinking, after Clement's kind of words over the summer and in the past few weeks, it's something that's been ingrained in us. You will see the real Rangers towards the end of October, November time. Right, we're getting there. Are you seeing the real Rangers now? The only time we've really seen what you would dub as the real Rangers is the win over Ross County. We were fantastic that day. And the win over Malmo. Now, I'm recording this not long after the final whistle. And I've got Clement's post-match comments when he spoke to BBC Sports Scotland. So I'm just going to read out what he said now. Now, I'm reading this out now. Without having read it previously. So here we go. So he told BBC Scotland, it was not good enough. First half, we didn't create enough and gave away too much in duels. Second half, we were much better. We took control and made chances, but to concede in that fashion is disappointing. We need to adapt and play on any surface. It's a different kind of football, but everyone comes here at some point of the season, and we did well here before. Intensity is an easy word to say, but you need to find space to play, and Kilmarnock did that really well. We could have done better in our duels for sure. With the goal, our right fullback is late to step forward and catch players offside, but that is something we have to learn from. We've played 8 games, so there are 30 more to go in the league. It's about learning lessons from these games like we have done before. Yeah, I think we all knew he'd kind of mention the surface. Now, don't get me wrong, he doesn't blame the surface, but yeah, we need to adapt and play on any surface. We play there every season. We've played at, the Spaghetti Hads when they were up in the Premiership as well. It's not something new to us, is it? We've been playing at Hamilton's ground. We have played at these grounds. We seem to have, again, I'm not saying it is an excuse, but I wouldn't be mentioning it. I wouldn't be mentioning the pitch. Now, I know I've mentioned the pitch, and I've noticed a few of the players like Bajrami at first, some of his touches just didn't really come off in the first half, but he did later on in the game get used to it. I know there is a part to play, but you're not telling me that having a plastic pitch is going to make Kilmarnock turn into prime Barcelona. It's not really, is it? You should still be able to beat Kilmarnock at home. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll take my hats off to Kilmarnock. Derek McInnes's tactics worked well. They were solid. They didn't really give us any space in behind. They were really good like that. And, their marking was good. They were trying to stop our runs and creativity. I think the only times you really got opened up was when Cherny and Tav were linking together well with their 1-2s, and when Bajrami was getting past some of the defenders out of the left. But bar that, I was expecting a little bit more from Lawrence today. I thought we would see, a little bit more from Lawrence. He's been playing much better in recent times, but didn't really see that today. Now, what frustrates me is it's not as if we've come off the back of a European away performance. We've had 2 weeks off. I know some players have been away playing for their national teams and their national unders teams, but yeah, we've had time on the training ground. This should be the way it is. But now, as it stands, we are 6 points behind not just the other mob, but Aberdeen. We are 6 points behind Aberdeen. And Aberdeen have a goal difference of +2 over us. It's not good enough. It really isn't. Now, don't get me wrong. We are in a rebuild, and it doesn't happen overnight. And it doesn't happen overnight. One thing we've got to learn, though, is that Clement isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and he isn't. The board, and that's the whole board, what we've got left of the board, and the hierarchy at Rangers, there is a plan that's in place. There is a rebuild that's going on, and they believe in Clement. And that he's going to be here for the long run, and he is. Don't get me wrong, never say never. I think if we go on a run of losing, let's say 8 games in a row, I think he will be gone. It's football, is what happens. But yeah. So according to Opta Stats, Rangers have now failed to score in 3 of their 8 games. Yeah, it's not good, is it? So that would have been the game against Hearts. That would have been the game at Parkhead and this game. Now, don't get me wrong, we've not conceded a lot of goals this season, but I got to be honest, when you watch the games back, it's not as if every game is no shots on target and a clean sheet. There are some chances, but I just think the quality of striking in Scottish football has gone down a bit. I really do. I think, it's like you look in that first half of Kilmarnock. I know they didn't exactly have a lot of gilt-edged chances, but some of them from the angles where they were, you think, got to get that on target, really. And they didn't. Yeah. To win leagues, you got to go to Rugby Park and win. Can't use the pitch as an excuse. You really can't. We need to now just focus on winning games. And we do. Because it's mad to think that after first and second place yesterday drop points, that we would go further behind today. That's not a Rangers side, is it? That's not a Rangers side that we're all used to. I grew up in the 90s where, granted, it was completely different, but there was a different mentality through the team. Even when we had our bad times in the early 2000s under McLeish, we still bounced back the next season. We'd put up a fight, and we would. This is good. We've got 30 plus games to go now in the season. We really, I think, the point of no return, if we get towards January and we're 8 behind, we're not clawing it back. So there's not a lot of wiggle room now. There isn't. There really isn't a lot of wiggle room. We have to get what we can out of games. They're probably not going to be pretty, but we've got the perfect chance now on Thursday to bounce back, in a sense, and try and get a result at home against Bucharest. Now, obviously, Proper, he might be injured. It might just be a niggle, but yeah, we need to win that game. We do. It's a must-win game for us in Europe. We've got to try. I guess we are looking at trying to get 9 points on the table to progress through to the next round of European football. And that's what we need to do. We need to focus on that as well for the finances. Got a massive game against St Mirren at Ibrox on Sunday at 3 p.m. And then a Wednesday night trip to Aberdeen. Yeah, Aberdeen will be licking their lips right now. They will be licking their lips. Aberdeen, you know what? There is a possibility they could go unbeaten into the new year. How mad would that be? Don't get me wrong. I do see the way they're looking. They did get a little bit lucky over Hearts, but they are scoring late goals in some of these games to win them. That is what a decent team does. Helen has got them set up very organised, very well. You break down their team, you break down the players and the personnel and the squads. They're not world beaters by any stretch of the imagination, but they work well as a unit. They work together well. They play together. Don't get me wrong. Are we capable of going up to Pataudry and winning? Yeah. The fact it's a Wednesday night in October, add that into the mix. Do we have the mentality for that? So far in the league, away at Tynecastle, failed. Away at Parkhead, failed. Away at Rugby Park, failed. Then that checklist isn't getting ticked off, is it? It really isn't. We need to make sure that we're going to these places and winning, and we have to. Yeah, so that's it. Kilmarnock 1, Rangers 0. Now, I got a few things on this week. I will get a preview for the Bucharest game. I'm looking forward to looking into what they're going to offer. Gigi Bacali has been speaking about he's possibly going to be leaving a player out because they're not doing too well in the league at the minute, and he wants to focus on that. Hey, that might be fantastic for us, but I know what we're like at times, you know. Yeah, so it'll be an interesting game. I'll be honest, it's a hard one to predict. At home, we should be taking care of Bucharest, but this is Rangers. You know, sometimes it is hold my beer. Let's see if we can have another farce once again. But it'd be great to have a nice, comfortable win. A nice couple of goals up by half time would be lovely to do, to give the fans something to shout about a little bit at the minute, and then hopefully get the team going, because we're not seeing. We've seen little spurts of what this team can offer. We've seen greatness from players like Bajrami. We know that he is going to be a really good creative outlet for us, but there's no one at the end of the balls. There's no one at the end of the crosses. I think we are really going to regret not having gone for another striker in that transfer window. I really do. But hey, January's not too far away, but it depends how many points we drop before then, I guess. Now, I've always been someone where the glass is half full. I can see this potential in this squad. Rome wasn't built in a day, and we do have to acknowledge that. But as Rangers fans, we just can't go another season not winning a league title, because they're going to leapfrog us this year if they win the title. Not just in trophies won, but in league titles won. Yeah, it's not looking good, eh? But hey, as Yaz once said, the only way is up, and we do need to learn and start learning soon. A good win over Bucharest would do wonders for the squad. I think we're capable of it. I think there's a different type of mental strength derived from us in Europe. It's mad that on paper we will struggle against a Kilmarnock side more than a fairly decent European side. That's Rangers, eh? Nothing makes sense at Rangers, do they? Anyway, thank you for listening. It's been a hard game to go through. I'll be back in the week, and we'll go into Bucharest, FCSB. I'll be at the London branch, so RFCSA London, the London branch, London's oldest Rangers supporters club. I will be there on Thursday night to take in the game. So if you are there, we'll be getting some fan interviews. We'll be hearing from, maybe before the game, at halftime, and after the game, at what people are thinking. And it's always good to chat to fellow Bears. So if you are in the London area, head down to Tooley Street, RFCSA London, the London branch. It's right under London Bridge at the Bermondsey Beer Keller. Good beer. Join and you can get 10% off your pints at the Bermondsey Beer Keller as well. So if you want to speak about membership, speak to anybody at the London branch when you're in there, and they'll sort you out. It's been a hard one. Try and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I know it's going to be hard. I'm going to be simmering on the sofa trying to watch some telly. And it's not going to be good. But have a good weekend, guys, as much as you can. And I'll chat with you in the week. Chilly bye, everyone.